that maybe you can explain, or have you experienced that where what do they see when Johnnie Cole moves on, when Willie Simmons moves on, when whoever moves on? Why can't they just say, okay, we already have stable success here, let's go ahead and elevate this guy and give him an opportunity?
I just tell you, that's $1 million question. I left a successful program at Allen University. There was a guy sitting next to me, two guys, that could have easily took on that program and continued the success of Allen University. But they didn't even interview him, didn't even ask him, did he want the job? Not even a conversation piece. I don't have the answer to that, Rock. I just know, what did your mama preach to you when you got in school? What they always told you had to do? Go to school, right?
Go to school,
go
do
to college,
well, make good grades.
Well. Okay, in our world in Black college, they feel that there's a struggle between the academia world, and most of your presidents are academia people who have not played a sport, do not care about the sport. They will put more money into a band. Hear me when I say this. When I was at Allen University, they flew the band to Central State and all the people that the vice president, and we rode the bus for 14 hours. Ain't nowhere in the country that would have ever happened.
No,
but at our institutions, the band carries more weight than a football program who could actually open doors. At every institution, when you go in the barbershop, the first thing they talk about, how your football team doing? Yeah. They never asked me about Bishop. What kind of science program do you have? Even at Baylor, they not asking about the science program. They want to know who playing quarterback, do we got a running back, and do we got a defensive tackle? They pack the stage to go see the spring football game so they can figure out who they can talk about over the summer about who gonna play. We ain't talking about no math class. We know it's there, but that ain't what make them money. Let's be real about this. That's what everybody don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about. But at Black school, if that football coach get to making too much noise and he become too much on podcasts and on TV, and they ain't came and asked the vice president about that new program that they done started, oh, somebody gets a wrinkle in their butt. And then guess what happens? Guess what happens? It's time for him to go.
See, I go back a long way, and what you guys are saying is so true. And that's why, again, I started this show. And you go back to the 70s, and all those great coaches, they used to stay in place because they were great coaches. And then their coordinators would take over in the 80s, in the 90s. And I remember I was on the bus, and Eddie Robinson said, what's going to hurt HBCUs is when people take over, they don't know nothing about football. And as you go on, we're never replaced by the guy that's been raised. We've always thought that people from outside could coach or run our universities, and that's the new wave of it all. You know, I mean, I hate to sit and talk about myself. I averaged 38 my second year, 39 points, and then 45 my last year as an offense coordinator. I don't think there's been not one black coordinator that averaged them numbers in the last 25 years. You know,
you can put those numbers up against any color. Ain't been no
anybody. Then when you look at LC Cole, the only coach that has won the OVC, black coach, he don't get no offer. He got to go to Alabama State. You look at Doug Williams, he don't get no offers. He got to stay at Grambling. Melvin Spears winning championships, he got to stay in there. You know, Rick Comergy go to 4 SWAC championships. He win 1. You know what his next job was? Mississippi Valley State. And they got rid of him after his 4th year. So it's just been a repetition of what Coach Keaton is talking about. what the question that you asked, Rocky, man, that is $1 million question.
You know, Coach,
I didn't like that.
One of the things that as a businessman, and I know that Bishop Campbell has been a businessman for a number of years as well. We look at successful business models, right? We don't try to invent the wheel. We try to look at successful business models and see how those business models perform over time and see what systems or processes we can implement from those business models that can work for us. I don't understand why these very smart men and women who've run these universities for the last 50 years haven't just taken the business model that has worked for University of Alabama, that has worked for Nebraska, that has worked for LSU or whatever, highlight and elevate the football team, the athletic team, and all those other sports and all those other services will be well-funded, well-represented, and and you have a brand, a successful brand attached to your university, which ultimately, and I can say this because I grew up in Waco, when Baylor was losing, they were a little podunk Division I university off I-35. When Scott Drew started winning, or Brown started winning, Kim Mulkey started winning, you should see the monuments that they have over on that campus right now. And they showed up when the winning showed up. Now, I don't know how they got there, but I don't think it was a coincidence that all of those facilities, science buildings, marketing buildings, schools of business, all of those, that development that's happening also showed up at the very same time all the winning started happening. And I'm going to ask Bishop Campbell and bring him in. Why don't they replicate, because you're HBCU guys, why I'm asking Bishop Campbell, why don't they replicate those successful business models?
Well, I think Coach hit it right on the head. There's a lot of, this is my turf. I own this. You stay over there. And, it is disappointing. But, Coach, I want to ask you a question because you are at a very prestigious university, Clark Atlanta, a historic university. And I saw where Stanford, one of their recruiting pitches was they would show how much, if you went to Stanford as a football player and graduated, you made $100,000. And then they had another graph that showed if you went to Alabama, you made $60,000. So do you use, because I like what you said, you look for grad transfers. Clark has some amazing grad programs. Do you kind of use that to say, hey, if you come to Clark, we have these amazing grad programs that you can get and be a Clark alumnus and make a lot of money when you finish playing football with me? Do you kind of use that as a recruiting tool a little bit, kind of like Stanford does?
Yes, sir. Let me tell you something. The first week I was on campus, I went to a recruiting fair. And I'm talking about every Fortune 500 company, Google, everybody was there. I watched one of my GAs that was already previously on the staff. He got hired by Caterpillar. He made $100,000, and he gonna say, Coach, well, I'm trying to make a decision whether I want to still coach football because it's my passion. I say, son, if you don't get your behind Philadelphia and get that money and leave us alone, I mean, it's a pitch because their grad program is phenomenal. It's the Howard of the South. It really has. The kids are leaving there in the way it's set up. Their academics and the way they set this thing up and how they invite these companies in there to see their kids and they get internships, different things of that nature there. I can't say that between Morehouse, you don't just get to go to Clark's career fairs. You can go over to Morehouse. You can go over to Spelman's career fair. And when I walk the promenade, I can see the difference in them. That's a Clark student, that's a Morehouse student, and that's a Spelman girl. It's just they all got a different variety, but I love them because they're unique. Clark is his own vibe. I use everything I can because Clark is more the party school. They got it going on there. They're having a good time there. Morehouse they party a little bit, but everything about Morehouse is about Morehouse. They believe Morehouse is the brand, and because you went to Morehouse, you're gonna get whatever you're supposed to get. But Clark has a fashion They have a. I mean, when I walk a kid down that promenade, it's hard for a kid to tell me no after he didn't. After he didn't see. I'm just gonna talk about it like I'm talking about it. It's hard if I take him on Wednesday and he walked down that promenade and he see 100 women and he only passed one dude in the last 10 steps that we took, and all of them are pretty, nice looking girls going to college, and he come there and he's a football player. Oh yeah, coach, I'm locked in.
We say you got a recruiting pitch for him, huh, Coach?
Yeah, Coach, I just take them to get the chicken, the calf, and let them sit in there and watch them walk around. And then the academic piece itself, the numbers show that they are really, really, and the vibe that we have going right now, I keep telling them, you got to be a vibe. That's why I loved about Coach Cole and them. When you came around them, there was something going to happen. They might have pulled up in a Cadillac or a limousine, or they going to have their suit on. Y'all remember the coach at I can't think Shine, the guy that was at Bethune-Cookman. It was gonna be something that was gonna catch your eye with that. That's the things that we have to do. Sometimes we gotta put it in their face. So we do the TikToks, all the stuff on social media. Coach Cole is very funny in his older age. Boy, I tell you what, we had to convince him because he didn't want no radios at practice. He didn't want none, but that's the kids we coach nowadays. When I go to the University of Alabama and they blasting all that music and they playing and we watching them, if you go to Baylor, that's what the kids do. I said, Coach, you got to do what they do. You got to make them excited about practice. You got to make them feel like they a world that don't communicate like we do. It's music in, the world out. When you try to call your kids, some of y'all got kids that's 16 to 17 years old, they playing the game and they got headphones on and you've been calling their name for 15 minutes. And then you got to go and kick the door in and say, hey, you didn't hear me calling you? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Hey, Coach, real quick, I want you to put your administration head on because we talk about financing and why HBCUs athletic programs. Of course, the state don't fund none of the athletic programs. And of course, they still, the nation still owe each dang black college probably $2 billion. And so we know we underfunded. But Rocky said some, and Bishop Campbell said something how businessmen think. What is the winning business model? And the PWIs, they have beat us to that model by putting money into the athletic program and by making it work. The thing that I always get people to understand is when a season starts, the university gives the athletic program money, all right? And then I know on the 1A level, Division I AA level, then you go play your money games. But what happens is all your money that you play and get, it goes to a general fund. So then next year when you start off, you start back over again. You get so only the university gives you so much money. And I know on the lower programs, your NAIA Division II, sometimes it goes by the enrollment of your football program, bringing in students, baseball. But all monies that you make, it goes to a general fund. I always said that if we play money games, let's take the money game money. If the school wants some, give them some, but then put it in a pot. Put it in a pot. So after a while, the football program especially can get off welfare. They'll have some money so that next year they already had. So now, instead of all the money that they make goes back to the general end, it'll go back to athletics. But that's what is my mindset, but that ain't how it works.
When your board is made up of educators that don't do no business, what do you think they're gonna let the money go to? Education. If you look at most big schools, their board are made up of business people who are CEOs of companies, people who understand what the business model is. They understand what the marketing strategy is. When you really dissect the board, you can tell where their funding goes they have on their board, because the board, a president can't make a decision without the board of trustees. They have to have a chair. And most of the time, your chair is like the single leader of what they're doing. A lot of schools in our sectors, and in my time in doing this, we don't have enough money to do half of the stuff, because our schools are used as fundraisers. The football programs, the bands are used as fundraiser programs, basically. Basically, you are recruiting kids that you're not giving full scholarships to. Basically, for every kid you bring, you might be making the school $50,000. But that $50,000 can't go back into your program, because they might be lacking in money that's going in other areas. And a lot of schools, another part of black colleges, they're top heavy. Your VPs, your presidents, everybody that work there, they got 13 VPs that make $300,000-$400,000. So most of your salaries are coming up at the top. But when you look down in enrollment management, you got a guy down there trying to make enrollment, making $45,000 a year, and he gone from his family 90% of the time, and he out at every recruiting fair, but he can't really attract students there. Then the residence hall, it plays another role. The residence halls at most of the HBCUs have not even been updated or even been rebuilt. They still living like they in 1939. So when I go down to West Georgia, and they got the suite style rooms where I got my bathroom over here, and I got a living room area with a kitchen and things of that nature there. And you know, the most important thing now that's really killing black colleges is the residence hall, because every parent that want to come to school, what's the first place? Because the English at Baylor, the English at Alabama, the English is everywhere. It's the same doggone English. All right, it's just what it is. But when I go over to Baylor's facilities, they got a print station. They got a place for the kids to conjugate that you go in. We go into our residence hall, they ain't even got a working computer in there. They ain't got nowhere where they can print their papers at. The internet spotty, it don't work there. They got little nice residence hall that stay open at 10 o'clock at night, that they can go get a late night snack after studying the different things of that nature there. We don't have those resources, nor do we really be looking to do those things. We're not student-centered. We need the student to go to school there so we can make the money off of them, so we can pay the bills. Because I've sat at the table, I've heard it, and I be always getting kicked. You know, the table gets slapped on me because Coach King gonna think about the who. Well, if we fix that dormitory over there, we might could get 7 or 8 more kids to come to school here. But when I come over there and 3 of the shower heads don't work in the community shower that you got me bathing in the hallway, that most of them, you go coach a team now, they won't even take a shower or take their clothes off in front of you. They going in a closet somewhere to put their clothes on to come back into it. They not raised that. Even now with you don't have Section 8 homes no more. You got apartment complex that they done turned into things. Now mom and daddy got a bathroom over there. The kids got a bathroom and they got their own rooms. So it's hard for a kid to want to come to school. And then most of the places don't even have visitations at some of the black schools because we think that's taboo. So now when they go over this school over here, they got visitation to a certain time of the night. The dorms, like I said, it's bad. It's a hard sell. The one thing I love about Clark Atlanta, and I'm gonna tell you what sold me on Clark Atlanta, they got the suites. Wow, they got Berkeley, and then they got this place that they call Section 8. Section 8 is still better than some people dormitories at certain places. And that's what you got to sell these kids on. Where you live means a lot. You ain't going to just live in a shack, right? So a lot of this is why we can't get good football players and a lot of things like that. Then you go into their multi-dollar facilities. They go in and they got a section where they can get a smoothie. They got nuts. They got protein shakes, pre-game workout shakes. They got fruities that they can eat on the way out the door. They got water cooler stations that's stationed everywhere with Gatorade in them. You go to a black college, we got to deal with Coke. But guess who got to deal with the Coke? The athletic department can't even get no coolers. But the student affairs section got all the Coke deals, and they barely won't even send you a Coke down there to put in your office.
So ask me this, Coach. Ask me this. Then how can we put out there how to transform the athletic department without, and when we play these money games, how can somehow the money that we make out for athletics go back to athletics? Is that something that can be done? Of course, I don't know. I got to do more giving, but you can't.
No, Nick Saban proved that wrong. Nick Saban proved that wrong. Most of the people that give to the University of Alabama is less than 4% that ever went in the doors of Alabama. Okay. Paying for your tickets is just like when you talk about who shows up at the University of Alabama. The rednecks that's down in the woods that want to be Roll Tide, and they pay their whole check to go see the Alabama Roll Tide. Those are the people that give. The people that give money are the people who have the money. But the people who are fans that's paying for tickets, we like to talk about how black people don't give. White people ain't giving either. Most of them in student loan debt when they get out of school. Who got money to be able to give back to a school? You paying Fannie Mae and Sallie Mae all the way up until you 60, and you got a 30-year mortgage, and you got 2 kids, you got a couple cars out there. What do you got to give? The church got to get its 10%.
You know, Coach, this is where the business model of PWI football said, we're not going to worry about what school you went to in order to support us.
That's right.
You can be an Alabama fan if you got a GED. You can be a Nebraska fan if you can't spell Nebraska. You can be an Oklahoma fan just because you like Jamel Holloway and Adrian Peterson. You understand what I'm saying? And
correct.
They made those guys college stars. They made the schools regular household brands, and you didn't have to have a connection to the school in order to have that relationship. I said this, I've been asked this 1,000 times when I started supporting black college football. What school you support? What school you go to? I just like football, man. I didn't go to an HBCU. I just like football. And then the fan base will say, you don't get a vote. You don't get to talk noise. You don't get to participate in our banter because you don't have a school. And I think that in and of itself separates HBCU football, black college football, from black people.
Right. What I just say, it goes back to what I said. It ain't them that's killing us. It's us that kill us.
Yeah. Well, Rocky, Rocky, I love you. You just ain't swag.
Hey, put it like
Look
this,
how
man.
much money we spend. Y'all think about this, guys. Think about how much money we spend on everything.
I think it was like $3 trillion last year.
Cause we spend more money than anybody else to spend, but we ain't gonna give it to somebody else, especially if we think it's gonna make another NIGGA rich.
You know, but I will say this, in Coach, I just think HBCU fan, HBCU faithful, HBCU schools have to invite black people to the party because it's one hell of a party once you get here.
It is. Ain't nothing like it in the world.
It's one hell of a party. So if you get invited, if you just reach your arms around all of black people, and you're gonna have some of them ninjas, they gonna come too now. Because you can't sift us out. They gonna come too. But they already here. Because I've been to the games before. They already here. But my point in saying that is that we need a Big Ten approach to black college football to where we embrace not only people who have an affiliation with the schools, but the entire black community and bring them in under the umbrella and show them what is offered. And through that experience, I think you're going to educate more black kids. You're going to have more, there's going to be more unity among us. Because I believe the conduit to black unity is through HBCU, the HBCU experience. Because nowhere does the black unity exist like among HBCU grads. And I'll just
But Rock, when I say you talk about the HBCU experience, we got to do a better job of putting on a show. We got to do a better job of our living situations. I think that when you go to a black college game, I've been to many white college games when I, had time and free time to go. If I got a bye week, I'm going to one of the games. Like when you go to Alabama, I'm an Alabama boy, so I go. Let me tell you something. It's an experience. We ain't just talking about watching the game. It's an experience. People spend money for experiences. If I'm going to spend $200 for a ticket, I need to know that I'm going to have an experience there. When you hear the music, they play all our music. They bands now have learned, they hiring black band directors just so that they can put them guys in the stand and you up there hear them playing. We the only guys, we play songs. They bring Curtis Mayfield or whoever they can get out there just to get it to happen. I'm just talking about what I'm talking about. I see it. And I'm like, man, this
I know a promoter, Al Wash, who promotes the Prairie View Grambling game. He promoted the Space City Classic. And that's what he said. He said, Cole, it ain't about the game. It's about what surrounds the game. You got to, as you say, Coach Key, you got to make it entertaining. And he does a super, super job of that. Matter of fact, I'll have him on my show to talk about stuff like that.
And this is an interesting comment. And Ronald Hunt puts up, when I go to HBCUs, I wonder if I'm black enough for them when I attend the games. You know what? I don't never wonder if I'm black enough, but but you will often get challenged on your affiliations and what your connection is with HBCU football and HBCU sports. That's not something that happens when I go to Baylor games or University of Texas games or SMU or anybody else. They don't ask me, what year did I graduate from SMU or
no, but Rocky, what they'll ask you is they say whose father are you? Because they won't assume that you went there. They'll ask you who you somebody daddy. See, that's the difference. That is the difference. So see, there is many times the stereotype of if you in the stands, somebody on that field, you must be their daddy or their mama. So don't tell me that, because my cousin played at Auburn, Marcus McNeil, who played for the San Diego Chargers. And his father was educated, his mother was educated. And all they would say to them is, when they would go to those games, who is your son? Not that you went to Auburn. So there is something to that. Let me say this. And Rocky, you have been with FAMU with me. You came to FAMU. FAMU people treated you good. We went down to Alabama State. Those people opened up their arms, treat us well. I think what people see, and Coach has kind of talked about this. I was watching a Colorado broadcast, a podcaster, and those guys were so caught, and this was numbered all black people, and they were so caught up with Colorado, and they couldn't even find Colorado in the map. That's when you see black people get upset, because you would do more for them white folks. I mean, these folks, they had 30,000 people watching this podcast talking about Colorado, where they only got 5% that black people go to that school. And these folks was more worked up.
5% where they live at, Coach.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Less than that. Right. And these were all black people. Man, you would have thought that Jesus Christ had died because Kamani McClain and Edwards got in that portal. And that's what we kind of get offended by. We were like, well, why don't y'all give us this much energy? That's what we kind of get upset about. Give us, like what Coach says, when Coach goes out there and he's at one of the most historic schools at Clark, Atlanta, and you got somebody that will root for Georgia harder than will root for Coach. That's what we get upset about. Why don't you
downgrade you, Bishop?
Thank you. You live in Atlanta, and you will have that Georgia G all on going up there when you can come over. So that's where, Rocky, I think the disconnect happens when we see that. Because what I will say, because like I say, there's not one person can ever tell me if they have ever been to any HBCU game that somebody treated you bad. Because somebody gonna offer you a plate, and somebody gonna say, "Here go a seat." And if you know the right person, here goes some liquor too. So I'm just telling you.
That's who you with now. Now I must admit, I was with some VIPs when I was at FAMU at Alabama State. So I'm not going to say that may not be typical treatment for just.
Oh man, we treat everybody good. We treat everybody good. And the reason why I say that, because Coach is in Atlanta. So when coaches playing on a Saturday during the day, instead of you watching Georgia play or Georgia Tech, how about you come support? Because like the coach said, the way we make money is you actually pay for a ticket. So, Coach, I'm going to big up people saying to come out on a Saturday and see all them pretty girls and pretty women. The alumni pretty too now. You know what I'm saying? The alumni pretty too. And get the experience that, Coach, that you're offering for Clark Atlanta. That's what I really want to see. I want people to adopt your team. If you're in Atlanta, adopt Coach's team. Not adopt Georgia. Not adopt Georgia Tech. Not adopt Alabama. Adopt Clark Atlanta.
I always tell people, man, people give money to people. They don't give money to buildings. So as you say, Rocky and Coach Keaton, as you say, man, you know, you just got to get out there and meet people and hire the right people. You got a hard guy that comes in the room and lightens the room up. You know what I mean? Whether it's the president, the AD, or the head football coach or basketball coach. You got to hire those guys who's not shy from the camera, you know, and that's one of the biggest things.
Well, I'm excited about Clark Atlanta football. I'm going to tell you that now. I love everything about Clark. I'm trying my best to make it be what it need to be. And before you know it, the world gonna know that Clark can play football here. Because I got the right people around me that's gonna push me every day, that's gonna push the kids every day, because we have a point to prove. I love these type of jobs because you can't sleep on these type of jobs. It's when you make it. It's when you start getting lazy after you win that first championship. It's got to mean something to you. This is a legacy. This is something that I wish that I can turn around and I make it what it need to be. I'm treating this like an internship. I'm up every morning bright and early, and Coach Cole sent out a text early in the morning. I don't think he sleeps, but at 5 o'clock he said it's time to go to work, gentlemen. And I love it. And if I don't get that text at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm gonna text him like, did he pass or something? What's going on? Like, what's wrong? Why you ain't texting us this morning?
And you know what? You guys completely messed up our breakfast plans when Coach Cole came to visit y'all. Y'all had him on the field at 6 in the morning.
Let me tell you something. I miss my idol. I tell him I miss Coach Cole. I did not get to take a picture. I got a picture with everybody that I love, and I got a picture with him, and I got to take one with Johnnie Cole so I can have it and put it in my, what's going on there. I try to find all of them. You know, when I met Joe Taylor and those guys, man, I had to take a picture. I mean, I'm at the middle of FCA, and I see Joe Taylor, and you'd have thought I had saw Nick Saban. I was like, hey, I got to see my man. Y'all let me have it. Those are the way that people, when you look at it, that's the stuff I like. I idolize these people. Ms. Griffin, yes, I coached at Stillman, Allen, and now Clark Atlanta. Those were the places that I was the head coach at.
Keith, she said you did it. You was on point.
That's right. She right. I did it. I'm gonna do it here. I'm going to do it here, and I'm telling you that now. You're going to speak it. There's power in your words, and we make sure we tell our kids that we got to believe it first before it ever happen. And I tell them, just keep carrying the water till it turn to wine. Every day ain't going to be a pretty day, but the slogan here this year is outwork yesterday. So every time we look up, we're going to outwork yesterday.
Yeah. Well, we working on our calendar, Coach. And, of course, when you play Central State, I had 3 brothers that played for Central State, and another 2 went to the school, and that's kind of been on my target to make it there. Hopefully, me and the guys, we can come there and do our show from Clark Atlanta. When you play Central State, you don't have that date on you. This right off.
We play Central State in Central State this year. Unfortunately, I'm sorry.
Oh, y'all
we got to go to Central State.
Oh, no wonder they've been telling me about the game. I thought it was in Atlanta.
No. But y'all can come to Atlanta. You're welcome anytime. I will set it up. I will have you where you need to be. And we're going to give you the sweet black college treatment. We're going to have a plate for you. We're going to get the band to come in with you. I'm telling you now, the one thing I like about it now, I got a buzz going on here. I got a buzz going on around here. They loving it. They're going to follow. Like I told them, it ain't going to be easy. It's going to look ugly before it get good. Yeah, but you heard it here on y'all church, on y'all show, and we live. We gonna do it now.
Let me give a shout out to Moses. Coach, bring that back up. Coach Moses, he is the new head coach at Lincoln University. So Keaton, y'all need to talk. Maybe y'all can get some type of game going there. But Coach Moses, thank you, for reaching out. He's the new head coach at Lincoln University. You will be one of our guests here, and I appreciate you. So I want to give him a shout out real quick. And he's looking forward to trying to turn the program.
Will I give Tuskegee a contest this year? We take it one game at a time. My first game is Fort Valley. That's what I'm focusing in on. When I get to Tuskegee, when they get there, we'll be there. We're going to show up.
Coach, boy, they got you jumping out with Fort Valley open the season.
I open the door with Fort Valley. And let me tell you something. What a great coach they have, man. He is a great mind at football, and I really like what he does. I like how you can see he has you mentioned the coach. I can't think of his name.
He almost had a big payday, coach. He almost got a big payday.
He almost got it, but let me say this now. Now, the guy's an excellent football coach. I know it's some FAMU people on here, but they would have got a good football coach because he brings it. He's very strategic in what he does. He was taught by some really good people, and for him to just been a running back and not have been a coordinator, I was really impressed because he gave us fits in a lot of things that he did. And to have to start my career coming from here to going to here, going over to Clark Atlanta, and I got to open the gate with it. I was like, Coach, I tell Coach Cole every day now, we got the Valley coming now, and they coming now, so we got to make sure that we ready for him. And we almost beat him down there. And guys, he is boy.
Don't mention it to Coach Campbell because Mr. Campbell, because it brings up bad memories. He almost was a rattler, and
and Campbell almost had a heart attack.
Hey, Coach, listen, I'm gonna say that he's where he needs to be at. You know what I mean? That's he's coaching the right program, Coach. That's all we gonna say. That's all the rattlers gonna say. He coaches the right program.
Hey, Coach Key, boy, if you was a part of the Florida and him making that head coaching choice, boy, that cat there was leading the flag. You're like, no, man, we need to get that job to the people that's there. We don't need.
Well, I can't disagree with him. I gotta, but let me say this here: the choice that you guys had picked, he's not a bad football coach. He's just a very unknown football coach, and maybe he made some piss poor decisions over his lifetime and doing some things differently. That he probably, when we young, we do things that we shouldn't do. But as a coach, as an X and O strategy, as a recruiter, and bringing in the type of players that he's brought into Fort Valley. And it's interesting to see what he got now because he keep everything close to his chest. But let me tell you something. He's a good strategist. And it's old school football. He's old school football, and he plays it well.
Coach, it's one of those situations that where he may have been the right guy in the wrong situation. It had nothing to do with him. Why he wasn't selected. It had everything to do with who selected him. And that was the issue in and of itself, Coach. And I hope the coach of Fort Valley has a lot of success other than when he plays Clark Atlanta this upcoming year. And we're gonna leave it right there because, like I say, the guy was, he had a very successful program. He had a winning record. He just wasn't who FAMU wanted.
And they have a right to that choice. And I'm just saying, speaking for Sean Gibbs, he is a good football coach, and I've played him on numerous occasions. And I've watched him. I am over the Head Coaches Association of the SIAC, and I'm a part of the D2 Connect. And I think he's done a tremendous job with Fort Valley. I think he strategizes perfectly for Fort Valley. All right, WMS, we know you good. Rocky, let's move on before I get beat up.
Hey, Keaton, they be on. And look, they be on. We bring coaches on here. We don't just be talking to them. We get facts. We get
That's
facts.
right.
Well, like I didn't. If Coach Gibbs or Coach Gibbs' mama's watching, or Coach Gibbs' wife's watching, I didn't want them to get the idea that we had anything against, or the fan base had anything against Coach Gibbs. It wasn't against Coach Gibbs, not at all. and I'm glad that you came on here and mentioned that he's a quality coach. He just was selected by the wrong person. That's it.
Hey,
I think
Coach
that's
T, I'm putting you on the spot. Hey, look, I'm looking for my plane ticket to the football camp, the clinic. Something you throwing. You always throwing something to raise some money.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you now, I'm going to bring you down and you're going to do some clinicking with us. See, I haven't had a chance to get that one-on-one Johnnie Cole football because, like I tell people all the time, I know how to undress myself and I know how to pay respect to people who've done it. And when you talk about a guy who's done it at a high level, and like I say, most people won't give y'all flowers, but in black college football, you guys need a statue. The Cole brothers, Pete Richardson. There's a lot of guys that's done really well in this game, and they never got the opportunity to move on. I think, I'll give another guy his flowers that I really felt that was a really good ball coach that finally got a chance after 35, years of trying to get a football job. Coach Berry. Coach Berry is a tremendous offensive mind. How he lines it up, the games he plays with what he does, man, he'll make you. He will make you work to beat him. And I seen it firsthand. So I thought South Carolina State made a real good hire. And and I'm one of them people that's not gonna just talk about myself. I know I'm good, and I believe that I'm good. It's for somebody else, and I don't have a job to give nobody. I'm not the president to hire nobody. But at the end of the day, when I see people that are good and that do a good job, hey, you got to get them their flowers. You watch how their program is ran, how they organize it, and then you watch these guys get hired. Or what Rocky and Bishop was talking about earlier. Like, dude, y'all, that's the best y'all can find? Like, there's other guys as coordinators that's really good at what they do. And you mean to tell me, but it's somehow the PWIs, they don't miss. They took them 72 hours. Hell, I want to say 48 to replace the guy at Alabama. Why does it take us 16 months to pick the wrong guy?
Hey, Coach, let me ask you a question, and you and Coach Cole can expound on this. Coach Cole always says only 25% of actual coaches are actual winners. Do you agree with that?
I agree. I might even go less than that. Because it starts with a mindset. It starts with a mindset. The right thing, like he said, the personality. It takes a personality to go in a room and change people. You got to get people to buy into what you believe. I might be the best X's and O's coach in America, but if I can't motivate the kids and get them to want to come play for me, and then you add this NIL deal and this bag money nowadays, you ain't recruiting a kid now. I'm talking about even at our level. The first thing they want to know is, well, can I get an NIL deal, coach? Or what? We got any alumni with some deals, a car deal, can hook me up with an apartment. I mean, it's becoming hell.
I had some discussions with some recruiting coaches, some recruiting coordinators in a Power 5 conference. And he said, Rock, man, it's crazy. He says, right after, hello, my name is Coach So-and-so, and the kid introduces his name, and the next question is, how much? And I say, well, what do you guys say? Because you guys can't offer any money or anything. He says, we have to get through that question, though. We have to address it. He says, because the kid will say, LSU, Oklahoma, University of Texas has this on the table.
Wow. And I'm telling you, it's rough now. I just had a kid that we flew in. I won't call his name, but he played it. He was a starter at Arizona State. I hosted him for the weekend. And after all the nice talking and conversations, he didn't say much, but what he asked me was, do you got any NIL opportunities around here? I said, son, are you looking for a football program to play for? Or are you looking for how much you can get paid to play? And I'm going to tell you what his exact words was. He said, I'm looking for both. So how can you compete with that? So you talking about black colleges trying to compete? It's going to be rough for us to get players because that's why all our kids at the lower level are jumping. I mean, when I coached at Allen, I had 5 players. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go finish, please.
I had 5 players from Allen University to leave, and they're all playing some form of 1AA or Division I football. Now that's big. Now,
let me say this, guys, to you guys, and a guy like Coach Keaton, a guy like LC Cole, can get at an Alabama State, a Jackson State, a Grambling, and build an NIL. I'll put my paycheck on that. It's going to have to be the white HBCU coach to be able to get out there and hit them. Because see, when LC was at Tennessee State, LC had a Cadillac. He got a Cadillac every 6 weeks, Rocky. You know what I mean? We had places there we ate at free every day. It's the same principle. But you got to get out and sell your program. Now, Walmart, if they give money to Alabama, they'll give money to Alabama State. You know what I mean? It might not be at that level, but it's the right black coaches to be able to come in there and sell the program. We was at Alabama State. Tell me where Alabama State was shy at. Stadium, fan base, only show in town. You know what I mean, Kevin?
Well, Johnnie Cole,
you can come in there and go around and say, man, we need some NIL money.
Johnnie Cole, I just met.
Five for you. But I bet you could do it, Teddy Keaton.
Yes, sir. Because I just met with a lady that I had in my office who gonna orchestrate and help me formulate NIL deals. And she's gonna come and she's gonna do it like she worked for Coach Saban. She ran track at LSU. She worked for Coach Saban for a while at LSU. And she came over to meet with our business students about the whole structure of NIL deals. And with a place like Clark Atlanta, and this is where I'm going to practice it at right now, I'm going to figure out a way to get in with a brand that's as strong as Clark. When you in Atlanta, Georgia, and you standing next to millionaires and you don't even know they're millionaires, some of them 26, and then you don't know where they got their money from. Some of them are just looking for an opportunity to find somebody to do business with. If you got people around you that can help you do those things, we're going to try to figure out how to do it. Because the only way you're going to get good is you got to find a way to be able to compete. Even if it's a small piece of that pie, you're going to have to find a way to compete at this level for those schools who have maybe alumni or, you know, those places like Tuskegee who are in small towns who have a Peachtree Ford dealership down the street down there that they're willing to do business with their local football team. You got the Kentucky Fried Chicken that's willing to. I coached arena football. So we had to go out and find these deals for our kids. We had to feed them. We had to find places for them to live. And we had to sell dasher boards. We had to sell all this stuff here. So a lot of my marketing skills that came from arena football are now got to come into play to help me find things that maybe I could get them 2 or 3 free meals of a piece of chicken at nighttime that they can eat when they go back to their dormitory room. Or maybe I can find them somebody that'll say, we'll let you lease this car as long as you don't take it over 30,000 miles, and this kid can get a car lease dealership with his name on it. All we ask is that he come in front of the dealership every 4 or 5 days and maybe take a picture with people who come in to buy a car. Say we can't do that at Clark. We can. But if it was on a bigger scale, we just got to be more, we got to get off our seats and do it now.
Well, here's the thing, and the reason why I know, you know, being in a school sitting in Houston, Texas, Atlanta is a market, and it's a market for black folks, and it's a market for the black folks will give money if you go out and you know how to ask for it, you know, and that's why I never thought why Texas Southern has never got off the ground with their athletic program. It just ain't right. It ain't the right leadership. You know, you got to be able to have those people that can go knock them walls down. You know, to know how to go in the room and be a bright light in the room.
To compete with Baylor, Rocky, but I will be able to compete with the people that's at my level, and that's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to stay in my lane. Baylor's not. We're not in the same league. Don't shoot at the same basket. Don't pay the same taxes. The whole nine. But they got kids that graduate, and they graduate and they're looking for 1 year to play or 2 years to play. And all you got to do is have a little something for them, maybe an apartment deal that say that I can stay off campus. Well, we'll give you 4 apartments for this amount. That's all it is trade and barter. Say we'll give you this many season tickets. We'll make sure you got all on our press releases when we do. This brings up a Wingstop first down. You know, that's all they need is that little bit of marketing. All of us got jumbotrons, and we put it up there. Those are the things that we got to go sell. PA announcements. Every time I go to a big time football game, there's 100 PA announcements before we ever get to the let's introduce the starting lineup. Well, I done heard this time out is brought to you by Bush. Whatever it is, we're drinking Bush today. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. We got to find a way to sell that.
Hey, they bring on those PWI big games, they bring so many people on the field, introducing them to the crowd. This is so-and-so at your Kia Ford dealer, or you know what I mean?
That's right.
Ain't got nothing to do with football or nothing. Just bring them on the field, man. But, Coach, this has been an amazing interview. You've been on with us for an hour and 45 minutes, man, and I want to thank you for your time. I want to give Bishop Campbell some time to ask your last question. And, of course, I'd like Coach Cole to give you formal salutations as we allow you to get off here and go home. I'm sure you got some work to do, Coach. Maybe not time of night. But,
well, Coach, I don't have any questions, but I do. As they say, we're in this age. So why don't you just tell people about your program, how they can follow the Clark football, on social media handles and things like that. Why don't you tell us that?
Well, you can follow us on Twitter at Clark Football. You can follow us on Facebook with Clark Football. It's wide open, man. We're on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you want to find. Just find Clark Football, and we there not with an E, just with a K. So make sure you follow the right Clark Football, because there's another Division II school called Clark College, but we Clark University, Clark Atlanta University. And I thank you on the behalf of our president, George French, our athletic director, Dr. Jarrell Drew. We are here to change the culture. Outworked yesterday, and thank you guys for having me and giving me an opportunity to be able to share this space with you guys.
Appreciate you, Coach, man. As I say, I'm excited about the football program, and anywhere you go, you've always won. I look for you to do the same thing. Hey, I didn't pay you for saying those things about me. I appreciate that. All I've ever tried to do is to do my best, and always, I believe in each one, teach one, each one, bring one. So I appreciate you coming on the show. Of course, we're going to be back at you during the season. I look forward to seeing you this summer at the clinic or the camp. And good luck the rest of the year.
Thank you, guys, man, and God bless you. Good luck to all the schools you follow, Rob and Bishop. I'm sure you work with the Fort Valley Wildcats, but I'm coming.
Coach, Coach, you had to get out here with a joke. So, Coach, what I will say is, if you ever have an off week and you need to come down to Tallahassee, Florida to see the HBCU National Championship, let me know. We got you taken care of.
I really would want to come down and spend some time with him, so I appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you. Y'all have a blessed night.
Yeah, you too.
All right, man. Hey, that was a great interview, man. And then we ran a little long, but we got to pick up this NIL conversation. Maybe we'll do it next week sometime and talk about it a little more, because there's a lot of misinformation out there regarding NIL. But hey, we've been on long enough, guys, and I just want you to take us out, Coach Cole.
Man, well, what I'll do too is I'll search some people that's actually in it, and maybe y'all can find 1, 2, or 3, that we can actually bring on that really is getting involved with it and learning the ins and outs of it. So to make sure we have the facts and get our people. Hey, guys, subscribe to our channel. I heard you earlier saying that you got to subscribe to our channel. If you want to put our show on the road, is it somewhere they can send money to?
Yeah, they can super chat, and they can become a member of our show, man. They can become a membership. It's just $1.99 a month. All proceeds go toward us actually going out, doing shows on the road, and just providing you with much better content as the season rolls around. So those memberships are very important. Just go ahead and select membership. It'll be automatically billed to you every month. That's $1.99 a month to become a member.
And you can get the membership go to YouTube.
Yes.
HBCU Coaches Corner.
Yeah, just go to the channel. Yeah, just go to the channel. Just go to Rocky Miller channel where the HBCU Coaches Corner is streamed. Hit membership. Boom, you got it. You're a member. And like I said, we're just trying to bring you the best HBCU content possible.
All right, thank you. As always, man, inflation is high, and groceries are high, gas is high. Man, don't panic. Everything will turn over after this new president's election. Things will get back in perspective, believe me. But make sure you go out and vote for the person who you think can lead this country. If you're having a hard time and you feel yourself or losing yourself, tie a knot, hold on tight, because ain't nobody bad like you.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know. Today, it's Monday, April 29th, 2024. Number 1. Last month, the United Steelworkers Union endorsed the Biden-Harris 2024 campaign. The labor union support continues to grow, with endorsements from many of the country's labor organizations, including the AFL-CIO and the United Auto Workers. Most recently, the nation's largest labor union, the National Education Association, or the NEA, announced the Educators for Biden-Harris Coalition. Number 2, protests against Israel's war on Gaza have moved from high-ranking members of Congress to college campuses and now to Silicon Valley. Recently, Google employees in California, New York, and Washington state staged sit-ins within company offices to push the tech company to drop Project Nimbus. This is a joint $1.2 billion project with Amazon that supplies the Israeli government and its military with artificial intelligence services, cloud infrastructure, and data centers. Number 3, Black Maternal Health Week has ended, but our challenges in having children continue. So we couldn't be more excited to see journalist and Project Runway host Elaine Welteroth and the GOAT, Serena Williams, join forces to launch the Birth Fund. The two decided to do something to address the alarming maternal mortality crisis in the United States. Their collaboration began earlier this week when the two penned a powerful essay in Time entitled, "We Shouldn't Have to Be Willing to Die to Give Birth in the United States." Among the facts shared in their piece is that 3,400 women have died since Serena and Elaine had their own children. Number 4, Janae Hood's professor of core humanities class at the University of Nevada, Reno, spoke about the lynching of Black people in a history lesson and then asked students to divide into groups to discuss. Well, Janae leaned toward the 2 white students next to her, but those students scrambled to the other side of the room to join the others. Several racist incidents have occurred at the school, including swastikas and racial slurs carved into walls and written on whiteboards in dormitories. Number 5, salvation. You can't buy it. You can't earn it. It's free to all of those who believe that Jesus died for our sins and came back to earth to fix all the wrongs in our lives. Salvation is God's greatest gift to us. It is the gift that only He can give. John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whomever believes in Him shall not perish, but have eternal life." Read more about salvation. It's Ministry Monday in today's newsletter. Here's your daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Be faithful. Thank you to our What You Need to Know partners, the American Heart Association and Black Health Matters. I'm Sybil Wilkes. Be informed, be empowered.
My name is JM&E, and I won $500 for lunch money for keeping up with the Jonas Bracket Challenge.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.